I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? We got Chris Parker here. We are live here. And look at this. We are watching Baker Mayfield together, and I'm honored to be joined by Chris because you are a college football coach. You've been a coach pretty much your whole life, haven't you, Chris?
I mean, it's what I do, man. I love sports, and yeah, man, I got right into college coaching right after playing FCS ball in 2009. I finished up, then jumped into the ranks, and been mainly a defensive back coach, but have coached on both sides of the ball and been a coordinator, man, and just love learning about the game and sharing my information, man.
Absolutely, and we have a lot of other great YouTubers that you're going to be able to meet for this whole process, and it's very exciting. Chris, I am a New York Giants fan, so yesterday
It's
was kind of
cool.
a tough deal for me, you know.
It's like I heard somebody say the other day. Preseason football, man, hope springs eternal.
Yeah, well, the thing at least is that the thing at least is that like a team that goes undefeated in the preseason, they could go 0-16 in the regular season and vice versa.
Exactly.
But it's just unbelievable to have football back. So here we're going to get a run play, but I think we're going to get our first pass. And I don't know if you're familiar with Colin Cowherd, but he hates on Baker Mayfield all the time. And what he was saying was like he went, a 3-and-out on this series. So
Yeah, that was more of a design and setup that Ty Haley, man, his new O coordinator, kind of brought for him. It's early in the game, man. He's just getting his feet wet. And the one thing that you really want to see, man, is that they got the timing on everything, man.
right.
How many times you see somebody come out first play and they can't even get the handoff out on every level of football?
Right, so they came out with a handoff, and then let's look at this play more closely because it looks like the Giants' defense, like right here, it seems like there seems to be some problems with the offensive line to his left. So you've studied the O line, so I guess here Baker he does a nice job of getting rid of this ball right here, though.
I mean, right here, what you gotta love is two things. The first thing is he understands the design of the play. And why I say that is this, like you pointed out, man, the line, they're giving up a little bit of pressure. Replacing that left tackle, Joe Thomas, is going to be impossible. He's a Hall of Famer. But they slide the line that way and bring the help protection with the running back, and he throws that way. So he actually, he shows he understands the design of the play. He gets the ball off without giving up a sack. He doesn't give up a turnover. You can't be mad at him.
Exactly, and then here this is a predictable call because it's his first series and it's right near the goal line, so you don't want to create any sort of terrible situation for the young quarterback.
Exactly, man. We didn't see it on here in the recording, but we both watched it and all the fans did. That kid who brought the ball out, on that kickoff leading into that drive, he shouldn't have brought the ball out. There was no reason to bring the ball out. Gave him bad field position, and that kind of dictated what they did right there coming out on that first drive with him.
Absolutely. So the Giants offense, it did struggle. I am a Davis Webb fan. You actually knew Davis Webb, right? Like you said
Yeah.
you knew Davis.
I met him a couple times, man. Been around some people that he's been around. He's a real hard worker and a journeyman, man, and he's gone everywhere he's had to go to get his name out there, man. So we've crossed paths a couple times, just in different workouts and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the thing about D Webb is that I just love his character. That, that's why I try not to be biased. He had a rough night last night, but I just believe that guy, he just works so hard that I believe that he can be successful because he is going to be a coach someday if you ever meet him ever in your life.
Exactly, absolutely right, man. And that's what people, it all pays off.
So here we see a run. The offensive line starts to move. And now I think we are going to get one of the best throws from Baker Mayfield. It's a play action fake, and here he rides it up the sideline, a back shoulder throw. Let's go for this play in a little slow motion. This plays to one of his favorite guys, Higgins.
Yeah, man. I think this is a really good play right here. What you have, man, is basically you're seeing him do what he's used to doing. This is a lot of the style of what he did at Oklahoma. The only difference is he wasn't under center doing it. He was in the shotgun, but the footwork is pretty much the same. And it's all about good timing, man. Good timing, And then also what, we can't hear their commentary, but a good comment that was made last night during the game, the in-game presentation, was just, how hard they've been working on the timing. Tyrod Taylor made one of these similar type throws and plays, and so it shows how much, the quarterbacks and the wide receivers are working and getting on the same page.
Yeah, and there for that cornerback, I mean, you've coached corners your whole life. I think that that's a very tough play to defend, is this play right here.
Right here?
Yes.
As a corners coach, man, you know what's crazy, man? Right here, I have to go into a film with this kid, and I have to tell this kid, hey, man, you know what? You did pretty much everything right, and he made a play. And you didn't.
Right, and the thing is, sometimes wide receivers will push off. To give credit to the Browns receiver there, he didn't. It was just a natural gravity there.
Oh yeah, he made a great play right there. In the cornerback technique, you could tell him to turn based on his positioning. Right here, he's in basically what we call dominant phase, and then when he's in dominant, he's up the field on the wide receiver. He's ahead of the wide receiver. When you're dominant, you want to turn into the receiver instead of turning away and trying to find the ball. The wide receiver will take you to the ball. He's got to turn his head fast enough. But right now he's already beat, and that's just the difference in the NFL and playing at that level.
So he was turned the right way, or was he turned?
No, he turned the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, he should have recognized that he was ahead of the wide receiver. The wide receiver was on his back, even though it was just a little bit difference. So right here, he's ahead of him, right?
Yeah.
He's ahead of him. It's okay position. It's not perfect, but it's okay. Right here, when the receiver turns his head back, he's got to know.
He needs to go. He needs to go counterclockwise. He needs to go left.
He needs to go counterclockwise and spin into him, and that's going to take him right to the ball.
Mm-hmm. You're teaching me, man.
You said it right.
This is PBS, man. This is wonderful. This is educational. So then we see a run, which is boring. So we're going to go to Baker. And, man, Antonio Callaway, he is not only a polarizing player off the field, but on the field, this guy is so polarizing. I mean, he could take it to the crib on one play. He could drop a ball on this play. What do you think about Callaway? You're a Georgia guy. You've seen Antonio Callaway a bunch.
I think he's a great kid, man. I hope it works out for him. What I'm really glad about, man, is he came out here and he played, and things happen. Things happen on and off the field. Right before a game, you might get a call, man. You've got a family emergency. And if you decide to play, man, you got to show up for your team. So, he played, man, and I think he had a really good game. Even right here, he dropped the one before, and then Baker comes right back to him. And this was a great play by Baker, man. This is This play right here really shows.
And then look at this, Odell Beckham right here with Callaway. You know you're something. You know you have potential if ODB's seeking you out. And as a Giants fan, it's like, it's preseason, I'll let it slide. But the buddy games of Odell Beckham, man, that's something that all Giants fans look at.
Odell's a special guy, man, and Giants fans are special, man. That whole tri-state area, man, all those guys, man, they're a special kind of fan.
It's a hornet's nest with the Eagles and everything, dude. It is crazy right now. So, right here, you talked about how you loved what Baker did. It looks like 66, big-time hold. But look at the footwork. I mean, I'm going to let you break this down, but let's just look at Baker's feet here, how he can get from one side of the progression to the next.
Exactly, man. And you really carried everything that I was going to say. The fact of the matter is...
I'm just going to steal your thunder every time.
No, man. It's just, he does everything that you love right here. One is footwork. Two, he's going through the progression. He realizes that it's man-to-man. And basically, he goes through it very quick. 1, 2, 3, who's the open man? And he gets the ball off on time. And that's the thing about plays like this, man. Plays like this, two things happen if it's not right. It's an interception, or you just wasted a play because he's throwing it out of bounds. And so the timing of getting this off when he does is the difference between Callaway being able to get an extra 3 or 4 yards upfield and possibly getting that first down, or it's just a play out of bounds or a drop pass.
And the thing about Baker that I love, and he's always done this, is he's always looked upfield when he's getting pressured. And that's something that's really special too. This play I remember vividly. The Giants here, I kind of want to go back because even as a Giants fan, you can help me out on this one. This is just an incredible play of all sorts, but this dude gets so wide open. And what is this, quarters coverage? I mean, what kind of happened in this coverage here?
So right here, they're pretty much. I would venture to say I couldn't see the whole thing,
right?
But I would venture to say that they are playing a quarters type of coverage. It's something that they traditionally like to do. With their defense, having a new defensive coordinator, the guy over from the Arizona Cardinals, is something that he does. And so right here, it does look like they're basically playing a cover four type of quarters coverage. And what happens is this: the first thing that happens is Baker does a good job of buying time.
Look at that play right there. Look at that.
Yeah, stepping up in the pocket right there, man. What he does on this play tells you everything you need to know of can he play on the NFL level? Can he be an NFL quarterback? And he can. He steps up in the pocket on the pressure, buys himself a little bit of time. He doesn't make an errant throw. This concept right here is also made for quarters coverage. And it's basically what I would call an inside chair route. It's a levels route. What you'll see is that guy he threw the ball to is the deep curl. There's a short route right in front of it, and then there's a post route from the inside guy or the point man. The point man runs the deep route, the outside man runs the sit route, and the inside man runs the low route. And so basically what he does is he just does a good job of giving them time to get to their space on the field. And when they find their space, they're finding space in the zone, and he hits it. And so, like I said, this is what all you need to see to know that he can play on the NFL level. Because one, he steps up in the pocket, he doesn't panic under the pressure, and then two, after finding the right guy to throw it to, he doesn't make an errant throw. He doesn't overthrow him, he doesn't underthrow him. He throws it where he can make the catch, only he can make the catch, and possibly have a play afterwards.
Absolutely, and the thing is, like, when you're in quarters coverage, you're only rushing 3 or 4 guys, so you need you need to buy that time.
You need to buy that time. You have to understand that, basically in this kind of coverage, and it being 3rd and 18 after a flag, they're just trying to keep everything in front of them. And so let them keep everything in front of them. Throw it to where your guy can make a catch and possibly make a play.
So here's the next play. Baker's just good. This is a one read and go route. I mean, look at the placement there. Very good placement. Plenty of arm strength this kid has. People.
Yeah, man.
People say like Baker doesn't have arm strength. I think Baker has plenty of arm strength.
Well, I don't get into that battle with people as a coach. This is what I tell people all the time. Tell me a great quarterback that they rant and raved about their arm strength coming out of college. Because Peyton Manning didn't have the best arm strength, and Tom Brady didn't have the best arm strength. And I say all that to say this. I learned from this guy who played in the NFL and the Major League Baseball, John Leifert. He played with the Red Sox and the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a matter of fact, he's a backup. But he told me something a long time ago. He said it's not about arm strength, man. Offenses are built on 2 things, timing and spacing. So if you get the timing right, man, if you throw the ball on time when you're supposed to throw it, you'll always get that wide receiver a chance to catch the ball.
Absolutely. There are different levels of throws, though, that, where Brett Favre and Mahomes, there's guys that can – it's certainly an added bonus.
Yeah, that definitely is. It definitely is. But Baker's got more than enough arm strength to throw all the throws on time. Now, will he throw a dart on a deep out, like Stafford can or Brett Favre can? Who knows, but he may not need to, and that's where a good coordinator and a good coach come into play, man. They protect a player from themselves, and they make the player as successful as possible.
So here we see Baker, and you could just describe this Baker Mayfield here.
Oh, man. Again, a big thing about the preseason is, coaches, they try to make it simple enough where, they want the kid to go play. They want players to play. I read a quote the other day. Kyle Shanahan said, to play in the NFL, players to get over coaching. And that's what the preseason is for. It's to let a guy go out there and say, hey, man, here are the plays, man. Go play football. You know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily have scheme. Let's just see if you can play football. And so that's what Baker did in the whole series of this game, but especially in this drive. He didn't overcomplicate it. He kept it simple. Let's just go play football. You can't make a play downfield with your arm. Get out of there. Go make a play with your feet.
And you know what's funny about the NFL is that, you probably watch this in spring games, and even over when you coach professional football, you don't want to tip off the other team at all. Like, you want to be guarded in your terms of your plays.
Exactly, man. Exactly. A good progression, so to speak, to talk about and kind of like play building. In preseason, I'm just trying to figure out two things. I'm trying to figure out, one, who I can count on and who I can trust, and two, what we can do, because the fact of the matter is a lot of times we just make small little changes in plays, whether it be, instead of the guard pulling, we might pull the tackle on offense, or instead of, blocking it this way, we block it that way. There's small changes, because what happens is, we have keys, man. We teach the players to have keys in order to read and react. And so we change the keys, and maybe hopefully it makes them react a little bit slower, and either we get the advantage on offense or defense. Mm-hmm. And so, that you want to go out and tip a whole bunch off. You just want to make sure that the kid, one, the players that you got, you can trust them to do what you trust them to do, that they understand the foundation and base stuff. You get into the complex stuff after that. But you can't get the, letter Z if you can't count A through Y,
Absolutely. And that's why we're learning right here with Chris Parker, who's kind enough to join us, and he's going to be joining us a whole bunch. So here's an interesting thing. Like, a lot of quarterbacks will throw a pick on this type of play, Chris. And how does a quarterback, like, how do you explain to them what throws are safe to make, like, under pressure? Because this looks like a throw where only the guy can get it, and it looks like a throw that's very dangerous, but some guys just don't throw interceptions. So can you kind of explain that?
Okay, so basically, right here, as a quarterback's coach, when guys tend to throw interceptions, especially in the NFL, they happen two ways. The first way, and the most obvious way, is there's a breakdown in miscommunication. The famous Tony Romo, Dez Bryant scenario. You're like, wow, why did Tony Romo throw it to that guy? And you don't know if Dez Bryant ran the right route or not. It happens.
Right.
Or even if you don't want to go that route, you can take Brett Favre. He just overthrew the guy. And so basically that's what I'm really trying to say. It was just an errant throw. It was just a bad throw for whatever reason. The other kind of situations you have is a breakdown in the quarterback's thought process or decision making. And so what happens is guys who throw a lot of interceptions, basically what they're doing is their decision making processes, they haven't figured out the nuance of it from play to play. On one play, it may be a quarterback tries to force a throw in the middle of the field versus cover three. And it's just like, well, I had him one-on-one. Well, yeah, you had him one-on-one, but that one-on-one coverage underneath was very limited because they had a one-high safety. They were playing cover one. And so you can't throw the ball there. Basically, to, be concise, what you have to get quarterbacks to understand is how coverages work. Where there is help and where there is not help. And the guys who tend to avoid throwing a lot of interceptions or having a lot of turnovers, they don't throw in the help. Right. And it's like I was saying, you got to be able to understand the difference between if you have man-to-man and it's single high, or if you have man-to-man and there's nobody in the field. Right here.
Yeah, let's look at this play. So this looks like man, and this looks like cover one and not cover three.
So what would that lead you to think? I can take a chance on the outside because there's no help on the outside.
Yes, or quickly move him and then hit something over here. Move the one safety.
And that's what I mean.
It's very inviting. Very inviting.
Yes. And the nuance of that is where some people make play. You know what? I tell you this. Here's the nuance of this play. The difference between Baker Mayfield and say if that was Drew Brees. Drew Brees wouldn't make a throw or run the ball, to safety.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees to look off the safety because he's that good of a quarterback.
Right.
You see?
and he knows the play. There would be a quick beater. Let's see. I guess we could go back to Callaway's route there. Let's see if there's really a quick beater here, because you're supposed to audible to something. Like, I would run some rub route concepts or something here. Let's see what Cleveland's running here. So Baker's looking over here, and he's only looking the one side, so he's only half field reading right now.
Yeah, at the same time, there's some good coverage going on right there.
That's what you'd like to see. They're jamming him good, and then Kerry win.
It only takes a half a second. There's some good coverage right there.
Mm-hmm.
The pass rush gets there. They get the pressure to him with good coverage and with good pass rush. Baker shows a good understanding of recognizing the coverage, and why not? Just take off, man. It's one high. There's no help.
Now, this is a great throw. This is the touchdown to David Njoku, I believe. So Baker's here. He's going to look. It looks like the Giants are probably in cover 2 maybe back here.
Take it back to the beginning?
Yeah, let's go back.
I was looking at the
Don't have to make
concept.
it
I love it. It's a levels concept. It's a 3-man level concept.
So right here it looks like, what, 2?
No, they're not in 2. They are in 2, but it's a different kind of 2.
I could go back and pause it, actually, so we can go through this.
It's a sort zone, basically. It's really like cover 4. It's more cover 4 than cover 2.
Right. It's more like quarters. Okay.
Exactly. It's cover 4 in the red zone, because, see, what you have to understand is in the red zone, we don't got a lot of room to work with, right?
Right.
So we got to flatten out the coverages, and things happen a lot faster. So a cornerback can't come off of a deeper route and jump a flat route. So you got to make decisions. So even though it might look like we're taking it's a match zone kind of concept. As soon as somebody does this, you take it. As soon as somebody do this, you take it. So everybody knows who they have.
Everybody has portions of the field.
Exactly.
So this is so hard as a play caller, because the Giants are in a call where they have the numbers, and that's why on second and goal from the 10, this looks like a really difficult play to put in the end zone here.
I agree.
So let's roll through the play. So you could see the route concepts here. I'll slow it down a little bit. And you can see Baker here rotating. I mean, it's amazing how comfortable he is at this stage, That's what's unbelievable to me, is he just plays so under control, and then he throws it here high, the corner's turned around. I mean, what do you see with this play?
I mean, right here, he just makes a good throw. He makes the right throw. In this sense, if he's not going to pull it down and run, if he is going to throw it. Because basically he throws to the back of the end zone, and so he puts it where either it's going to be out of the end zone or they're going to make a play. We're not going to turn the ball over in the red zone. That's one thing that kills you. That is the worst thing you can do.
It's only where Njoku can get it. Now, now since I have you here, I was looking at Davis film earlier, so I wanted to ask about this kind of coverage for Davis Webb in the future. And we could break this play down, because it looks like it's going to be some sort of Tampa 2, because the linebacker's going to come back. I mean, just talk about how to beat a coverage like this, because this looks pretty sound from Greg Williams and this defense here, as you're going to see this play kind of develop.
Well, first let me say Greg Williams is absolutely one of my favorite defense coordinators of all time. I am a Saints fan, and he was defense coordinator when we won the Super Bowl 1 and 2. He's an extraordinary mind when it comes to defenses in general. He finds ways to put people in positions. He just confuses guys a lot.
Yes.
So this the play right here. Oh no, we missed it.
Here we go. This play right here.
This the play we have right here, and basically what we have is you got 4 down. And you got 4 in the box. And so it looks like you have 8 in the box. And because you have 8 in the box, yes, they're playing cover 3. Now, the play action got them out late. What you have right there is you have a kid making a play. And that's just basically a good job of using his eyes and seeing what's happening. He read the defensive, the linebacker read through his keys right there.
Mm-hmm.
and he made a play that he may or may not make, man. You know, it was a good action fake. It was the right throw to make. He made the throw in the middle of the field in front of the safety over the linebackers. The linebacker just made a play.
Right.
Good play design right there.
So this is vintage. This is vintage Baker Mayfield, and this is when I'm like, this kid is totally feeling it, because I think the best attribute that this kid has, and this whole debut was such a success, but right here, this is just incredible. I mean, you have a guy who's coming unblocked. I mean, look at this, man. It's incredible how he could escape, go left, reset his feet like this. Guy's nipping at his leg, and he throws the ball in a place where only his guy could get it.
This is why he was the #1 draft pick. He avoids a sack, man. He gets the ball off. You know, he does some amazing things that a lot of guys they just can't do, you know, for whatever reason, man. And I tell people this all the time, especially like moms when I'm on the road recruiting. Mm-hmm. And you always get, you know, that one parent, not to knock them, you know, but they think their son is really good. And the kid is a really good football player. And then I have to explain to him, ma'am, your son was a very, very, very good high school football player, but he's not special enough to play in college. And then I had to swallow that same pill as a college player. I was a decent college player, but I wasn't special enough to play in the NFL.
You played in college?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's very, very difficult. And I guess you can train, and I guess the only way you find out is by going to that level, though.
Yeah, man. You know, you just get to a point. It's almost like watching X-Men. You know, you see like you see certain mutants, and you're like, wow, that's a cool superpower. Wow, that's a cool superpower. Wow, he's Thanos. You know.
Yes.
He just got some people that's just on another level. You know.
And that's very hard, you know, to accept that reality, and then you're supposed to be the bad guy a lot as a coach, going to these parents and saying that sort of deal.
Well, you know, it's not that it's a tough reality. It's you know, everybody doesn't understand stats. You know, and you could tell somebody over and over again, you know, if they make it to this level, they're the top, you know, 15%. But I mean, we walk around every day, you know, and we see people trying to make it to the NBA, and you don't realize that the guys playing in the NBA are really the top 1% of basketball players in the world, and the guys playing in the NFL are really the top, you know, 1%. You know, that's a special type of number to be a part of.
Right.
Especially considering that, and we both know this from, you know, our time having been around the game and, you know, and done our research and enjoying it and learning about it. Even the guys that are there, you know, there are a lot of guys that are there. There are guys right now, you know, that are fighting to make the 53-man squad because the margin of error is so small.
It is, and it's so difficult. So here we're going to see a couple last Baker Mayfield drive that we're going to look at. Here you see, again, the ability to extend. Callaway makes a big-time catch, so we're just going to go through these here. And you can just feel free to comment on these.
Yeah, no, you know, like I said, man, before, and I'll reiterate, I wasn't a big Baker Mayfield fan. I definitely wasn't against him in any kind of way. You know, but I just didn't know, you know, the fact of the matter is he's not Russell Wilson. Athletically, but you know, it's hard to project who the next Drew Brees is going to be, because Drew Brees, there's nothing prototypical about Drew Brees except the fact that he can throw very well. You know,
right?
But he's a small guy and a small body. He's not, you know,
and he's smart.
He's smart. You know, he doesn't. It's not like he has a big arm or he's overly athletic. And Baker. It's just he's turning out to be some kind of, or be able to have those type of abilities. He's projecting those similar type of attributes.
Well, the thing, when I look at Drew and Baker, I mean, I think you have to have, like, quick feet if you're a little guy, and you have to throw, like, within windows. So here, like Baker, the thing that I love is that he definitely gets a lot of torque, you know, in the throw. His footwork, he's always on balance. And he does have a strong enough arm to whip it there. Like, I don't think it's as strong as Russell Wilson, but if you're going to be a little guy, you just have to process so quickly.
Exactly. what it shows you is, it really shows you that his commitment, man, his commitment level to want to be great, that he's not shying underneath of the pressure of being in the Browns. You know, we hate to say it, man, but the fact of the matter is there is some kind of pressure there, man. Historically, what that organization has been through, some of that falls with him. You know, if he can cure some of those ills, and you know, I tell people all the time, I'm really rooting for the Browns. I have been rooting for the Browns, because Paul Brown is the standard of what we do. The original coach and founder and owner of the Browns, he is the standard of what we do as coaches. We run the 40 because of Paul Brown. The rules that we have going in the camp are because of Paul Brown. Everything we do, you know, literally as football coaches, the majority of it is Paul Brown. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of my generation because of Paul Brown. Everything he did, he got from Paul Brown. So
it all extends back to Paul Brown.
Yeah, man. You know, so I want to see the Browns.
No, and I want to see him succeed. And I guess, like, so if you weren't high on Mayfield, I'm curious, like, were you high on Josh Rosen? Like, what kids did you like coming out there?
I really did like Josh Rosen, man. He's beyond smart. He is the prototypical quarterback. Or he's what I don't know what the prototypical quarterback is anymore. But if there was a prototypical quarterback from the 90s or early 2000s, so to speak, and, you know, height, weight, and all that, he's that 2.0.
Right.
And mainly because in the world we live in, the earlier you start, the better. You know, you can tell he's been doing it for a long time. As far as learning the game and learning the craft of playing quarterback.
His parents, you know, really started to help him out. And, you know, sometimes Josh Rosen, like, you know, everybody wants to get concerned sometimes with off the field, you know, sort of controversial statements he'll talk about, you know, like athletes getting paid and some things, you know, and owners might have been worried about that. And then, like, the injury history. So those were two things about Rosen.
Yeah, those are some concerns, and I understand them. I went to Georgetown University, and some people would say that makes me a smart guy. And I wouldn't say that. I would tell people that God blessed me with intelligence. But I say that to say this. When I was in high school, and I was playing in high school, I'll never forget, I had a coach, man. And basically he benched me for going to school during summer school, for going to class. I was taking college classes. And he punished me for that instead of being on the football field. And there was a point in time in my career where he once told me, he was like, Parker, you're too smart for your own good. You know, and I didn't understand what he meant. And he came back and he told me again, he was like, Parker, you're too smart of a football player. I don't need you to think, I need you to play. And as a coach now, I understand what he's saying, man. You know, you want players to play. And it's a fine line. You know, you hate it. But it's almost, like I said, it's a fine line. You want them to have a personality, but you kind of want that personality to be all in the football.
Well, it's like being naive almost. Like if you're a guy that's a little banged up, it's not overthinking it. It's put your body at risk of it's just playing like a warrior, like Brian Dawkins, and some guys, like, with their time, they might analyze, you know, whether it's like being in the space, politics, or all different kinds of things. You want those guys to be all about football.
Exactly, man.
And it's funny that people get punished for that, but I can understand where they're coming from. I really can.
You know, it's like that double-edged sword. You know, it's like, man, it's like. If you were working for ConAgra Foods, and you know, for the food company, and you were working in their finance department, man, you know, they wouldn't want you in there talking about, you know, the latest candy, you know, or, you know, product or whatnot. They want you talking about the numbers, you know.
or like if you're working fast food, they're not going to want you analyzing how the food is made, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't want you hit right over the head. I want you telling me about how the food, you know, where the food come from. I want you to sell the food.
Just go, just stop. And that's the funny thing about Josh Rosen is he's always like, why?
Exactly,
and as a coach, you probably like that, but to some degree, you do want the kid to like trust you a little. You know what I mean? And get off you.
as a coach, man, it's a fine line. And I've learned that as a coach. Okay, so it's like this.
Yeah, this generation especially, they want to know why.
Yeah, and that's where the problem lies. It's basically it's just like it's a what you call it, a generational misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to know why in the first place instead of me necessarily telling you why. And so no, the higher up you go, the more we tell them why. In the pros, Josh Rosen will be fine. A lot of issues that Josh Rosen had at the college level, he won't have. But no, I was real high on Josh Rosen. I wasn't very high on Sam Darnold. I just don't believe in him. That's not to say he won't be great. That's just to say when I watched him, I just didn't believe in him.
I like that, man, because you gotta have opinions, and then now that Mayfield's doing well, if you're gonna be a guy, that's gonna do this business, you gotta have opinions, and I don't really believe in Sam either, and I'm curious to see how he does tonight, because Sam was a quarterback that's just a little fidgety in the pocket,
It's not just that, man. Sam is a quarterback to me, man. He's gonna, in my opinion, he's going to be the exact opposite of what I was saying about Baker earlier. He's going to be the guy, everything's going to be in front of him, and he's going to blow the throw. That's just what I think about him. That's what I saw when I saw him at USC. There were times I felt like he had everything in front of him to go win it all, to go get it. And he just didn't go do it. For whatever reason, he just didn't make the throw, or he overthrew the guy, or he threw an interception. And a lot of times it was him just throwing an interception on simple plays. So, and you're like, whoa, why are you throwing an interception? Or why are you throwing an interception? And that's why I don't believe in him. He's got a big arm. He's got all the talent in the world. And there are some geniuses that just, they can't get out of their own way.
I mean, I look at Sam, he did do great in the Rose Bowl, though, so I'll push back there. He did show a couple of clutch games. I felt like when the time was right, whether it was Texas or the Rose Bowl, he'd step up. I'm more concerned about the loopiness of the throwing motion, though. And I want to see if the guy can make downfield throws, if he has the arm talent to succeed. He's fidgety, and he does turn the ball over, like you said. He does make boneheaded decisions.
Definitely. So, yeah, that scares me with guys like that, guys who have a lot of talent, but their talent doesn't always match the results. Not the numbers, but the actual results. It's why I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' numbers are great, but his win-loss record isn't there. And, people can say, oh, well, he didn't have the weapons or this, that, and third. Well, he obviously had good enough weapons to get the numbers.
Yeah. Hey, you're opening up a whole can of debates, man, with Chris Parker. But Chris, thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed you taking the time today to talk about these quarterbacks, but also to look at Baker, to show us some film concepts. Thanks so much for joining the show, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Anytime, man. I appreciate it.